So these questions, like I said, start from 2021 to 2025, but we start with the order is starting from 2025, then we are going to go down until 2021. I guess you understand what I mean. All right. So this is the first question that we are going to, or this is the first part of the questions that we are going to answer. So this one, as you can see from this part, this is taken from, that is paper 2. This means paper 2, variant 1, May, June. So M is May, J is June, and the year 2025. So this is biology 0610, paper 2, variant 1, in the session May, June, that is 2025. So let us look at the first question. Which characteristics of living things requires carbon dioxide to diffuse into the leaf? Which characteristics of living organism require carbon dioxide to diffuse into the leaf? Now here, what you need to understand is that plants make their own food by photosynthesis. So the process by which organisms make their own food is called nutrition. I think you still remember from what we've discussed. So in other words, this part is nutrition, and the answer is C. Then question 2, which set of features is characteristics only of birds? We are just from discussing this. So which sets of features is characteristic only of birds? So 1, hair and wings. Birds do not have hair. Hard-shelled egg and feathers. Let us see C. Scales, no. Wings and soft-shelled eggs, no. Hard-shelled eggs and feathers. So hard-shelled egg and feathers. So the answer is the B. Then question 3. Which structure are found in both plants and animal cell? Which structures are found in both plants and the animal cell? So the structure that are found in both plants and animal cell is the cell membrane and the nuclei, not the chloroplast. The chloroplast is not there in animal cell. The cell wall not there. The cell wall not there. So this disqualified the 3 answers, and therefore the answer is D. I guess from what you've learned, you are able to apply for answering the questions here. So this is the question that came in this particular year. All right, let us have a look at this one. So for this one is variant 2, that is May, June, session, that is 2025. And the first question is that the pictograph shows an animal called a maggot. 4 processes that occur in the maggot are excretion. Now, when you talk of 4 processes, we are looking at characteristics of living organisms. So, Mrs. Grain, we should be able to go with this one. So, excretion is part, growth is part, respiration is part, but is digestion part? No, it is not part. So, the answer here, we are going to count how many characteristics. So, this one is not. So, 1, 2, 3. So, 3 of the characteristics. So, the answer is C. Then part 2, that is question 2, part of the base sequence of a DNA from 4 species are determined or was determined. Part of sequence of DNA from 4 species were or was determined. Now remember, when we say classification of living organism, now they use base sequence. So the more closely related the base sequence are, or the base sequence, the more closely related organisms are. Now this base sequence, for example, G is guanine. They have names anyway, but you don't need necessarily to know them. What is important is to look at their pattern. So the question is, part of the base sequence was determined. Which 2 species are least closely related? Now, those that are least closely related are those that do not have base sequence that are closer to each other in terms of sequence. Now, look at this. Let us start by comparing these 2. So if we are to compare these 2, let us look at their similarity. So 1, I can put 1, they are similar. Second part, they are not similar. Third part, they are similar. So I'll put here another similarity. Third, they are similar. Here, they are not similar. Fourth, they are similar. Here, they are not similar. Then lastly, they are similar. So how many similarities that are there? 5. Then let me compare the two here. First, similar. Second, similar. Third, similar. This, similar. This, not similar. This, similar. I'm just ticking the similar ones. So how many similar as well? So they have 5 similarities. So also 5 similarities. Now let us say we get the last one and this one. That is the 1 and the 4. So the first part is T, they are similar. The second part is G, not similar. The third part is AA, they are similar. The fourth part, they are similar, that's GG. The fifth part is GG, again they are similar. This again is AA, they are similar. TT, they are similar. So these are closely related. Now let me get this time around. Let me get 1 and 3. 1 and 3, if you look at them, TT, so they are similar. The second part, that is not similar. Third part, they are similar, so 2. Then, of course, the third one, that is GG, they are similar. Then we have GC, not similar. AA, they are similar, so 4 so far. AT, so here there's T and A, here there's G, and so these have only 4 similarities. So in other words, 1 and 3, they are not closely related. So this is something that you need to practice in terms of looking at the base, how to do it, and all that. Very important. Then question 3, a single-celled organism has chloroplast, cell wall, and nucleus. Look at this. A single-celled organism has chloroplast, cell wall, and nucleus. Now, this takes us back to the characteristics of organisms. Those are invertebrates, and that is prokaryotes. In other words, prokaryotes, you talk of fungi and all those. If you still remember, what are the characteristics, or which group does this one belong? So it is not the fungus. Which group of organism? Is it the plant? Is it the plant? Or is it the, no, not the plant. The plant is the, so organism has chloroplast, the plant has chloroplast, cell wall, and the nucleus. Single-celled. Now, plants are not single-celled. Fungus are not single-celled. Then now, we look at this one. So the answer here is D. Okay? Prokaryotes, you find bacteria. So the bacteria has the cell wall, but not chloroplast. So that's why we are going for protoactists. So that is the answer. All right, we proceed. We look at this one. That is 0610. That is variant 3 of May, June, the same 2025. So as you can see, we are answering all variant in each year or in each session. Let me say in each year, we are answering all the variants. So we are on to this variant 3 now. And the question right here, the diagram shows aquatic plant in light. What is the characteristics of all living things that is demonstrated in the diagram? So Mrs. Green, what is the characteristics? Now look at this. We have water, light, bubbles containing oxygen, aquatic plant. This is an aquatic plant. So here it is photosynthesizing. Now photosynthesis is a process by which plants make their own food. So making of food is called nutrition. So therefore here the answer is B, which is the nutrition. Then the diagram below shows organism. Which organism is a prokaryote? So a prokaryote, as you remember, it has a cell wall but without the chloroplast. So which one is the prokaryote? As you can see, this is the diagram of a bacterial cell. So A is the answer. I guess you still have that information in your mind. Then of course, question 3. What happens when a plant cell are placed in the sugar solution that has high or lower concentration or lower water potential. So this question was mistakenly put here. We are going to look at this under transport across the membrane. So this question will be answered right there. At the moment, we focus only on the question that deals with the first part. All right, then let us look at the question that is from 2025, that is March, that is May, June, that is variant 2, May, June. Okay, variant 2, May, June. So this one, the first question is, relationship of 4 species of bacteria, P, Q, R, and S were compared. Species P and Q have more recent common ancestor. So the species P and Q have more recent common ancestor than either species has with R. So it means if there are species that are closely related to R is P and Q. Now remember, under we said the more close related they are, the more recent their ancestor are. And the fact that they are closely related, which means they have common ancestors, which means they are related in other words. Now the question is, species S developed recently from P. Let me read the question again. The relationship of 4 species, P, Q, and R, were compared. So we have P, Q, and R. Then species P and Q have more recent ancestors than either species has with the R. Species S was developed recently from P. So P, Q, then S was recently developed from P. If Q is related to P, then also Q, if Q is related to P, which means also Q is related to S. So the one that is not closely related is the R. So the answer here is the C. Okay. Then the second question, the diagram below shows arthropods. We are just from looking at arthropods. So legs, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. And of course, we have the pedipalp there. So 4 pair of legs. To which group does it belong? So to which group does it belong? So this one belongs to, where does it belong? Arachnids. So it belongs to arachnids. So this one belongs to arachnids. That is A. Okay. Then we look at question 3. Which structure are found in both plant and the bacterial cell? So in both plant and bacterial cell, you find cell wall. So cell wall, yes. Plasmid, no. So they shouldn't be plasmid. So having only one that has no, which means it's an answer. So they have cell membrane both, cell wall, ribosomes, but no plasmid. Plasmid specifically for bacterial cell. So the answer is D right here. All right, let us look at this paper. So this is Biology 0610. That is variant paper 2, variant 1. Session October, November, that is 2024. So we've moved from 2025, we are into 2024 now. A living organism X can be or can make its own food. Look at this. Living organism X can make its own food, which means that is the nutrition. So making its food, it's the nutrition. Get rid of toxic, that is excretion, and detect, respond to stimuli, that is the sensitivity. Okay, so the answers, what other 4 processes must organism X carry out to stay alive? What other 4? There are 7. So Mrs. Grain. So we have already, that is the nutrition, which is N. We have excretion. We have sensitivity, which is S. So other is the movement, reproduction, respiration, and growth. So we have growth, movement, reproduction, respiration. And the answer here, that is, the answer is C. Okay, so the answer here is C. Now, here they've not asked of what characteristics are these, but what other, which means from the 7, 3 are given what other. Question 2, the diagram shows an animal. Use the key. Which genus does the species belong? Use the key. Which genus? So, dichotomous key here is what we are going to look at. Now, looking at this organism, it has jointed legs, we've been told. But, look at this. It has jointed legs, but how many pairs? So this side, 3 pairs of legs. Are you able to see 3 pairs of legs? I can see 1, 2, 3, 4. So 4 pairs of legs. So we are going to go to this. Then now, what other further description does it have? 4 pair of legs. So it has more than 3 pair of legs. Yes. Then specifically 4 pair of legs. If it has 4 pairs of legs, that is called Agiloneta. Then more than 4 pairs of legs, it is called Asylus. So this one, if you look at it, we are going to go to this because it has 4 pair of legs, and therefore the answer is C, and the organism is Agiloneta. That is how we simply identify it using the key. Then question 3, what statement is true for all species of organisms? Species, remember species. I told you to master or to know the definition for species. So species, is it A species is a group of organisms that have genetically identical? No. B, species is a group of organisms that produce fertile offspring? Yes. Let us look at C. Species is a group of organisms that produce both sexually and asexually? No. Then species is a group of organisms that reproduce by sexual means? No. So, is a group of organisms that produce fertile offspring. Okay, then we move. So the answer here, we are going to go for B as the answer. Okay, that is question 3. Then now, this is just an extension of, is it the same question, the same paper? Yeah, it's just the same paper, but this time around it was going from 1 to 5, the question on the first topic. But these others, I'm sure you've seen the maximum is 3 questions. Let us look at question 4 of the same paper. Which group of living organisms include meropods? Which includes meropods? Which organisms include meropods? So, we have arthropods, prokaryotes, protists, we have vertebrates. Not this one, not this one, not this one. Because these are groups as well. So, meropods are groups, cannot be found under prokaryotes, cannot be found under this, but they are arthropods. Arthropods is the major part. As you can see, all these prokaryotes, they come from arthropods. So, it is A. Then question 5, the diagram shows the liver cell. Which features are present in this cell and also in the most plant cell? Which features are present in this cell and also in most plant cell? So this cell has the cell membrane, the cytoplasm, and the nucleus. So we need to look at the cell membrane and cytoplasm. The answer is A. We continue. So this paper or this question or these questions are coming from that is Biology 0610. Paper 2, Variant 2, October, November, that is 2024. The first question is, which organism carry out respiration? Which organism carry out respiration, growth, movement, and excretion? All animals and all plants. These are characteristics of living organisms. So that is the answer. All animals and all plants. Then, the second question, chimpanzee belongs to the species or species Pan-triglyperides. Pan-triglyperides. What is the genus of the species? So you know that the arrangement of the name is the genus, then the species. So Pan is the genus, then troglodyte is the species. So since you're asking of the genus is Pan. I guess you understand this part. Then question 3, the diagram shows the tree leaf. Use the key to identify 3 species to which the leaf belong. So use the key. So looking at this, we are starting the leaf shape. So this first part gives us two descriptions for the leaf shape. So on this side, we have leaf with a simple, leaf is simple with no leaflets. Now, leaflets are these, a lot of these. It has leaflets. So if they say has no leaflets, then that is not true. So it is not this part that we are going to follow. Instead, we follow this route. Leaf is compound with many leaflets. Yes. So we forget about this part. So we go to this now. Also, to description next. Leaf edges smooth. Leaf edges are not smooth. As you can see, they are like this. So it means leaf edges jagged. And that is the, or jagged, that is the Sobus eucarparia. And that is the answer, D. So using the key, we've identified the organism. Let us look at this one. So this one is in the year 2024 still, variant 2. Okay, so which means is just the extension of this that we've looked at. So a continuation. What is the function of mitochondria in cells? What is the function of mitochondria in cells? So although we've not looked at this one, something that we are going to look at under cell organization, but anyway, we can just answer it now. So releases energy. So the function of mitochondria is simply releases energy. Which row shows function of a cell membrane and function of a cell wall in the parasite cell? So this also is under cell organization, so it was mistakenly put here, but the answer here, the cell membrane for active transport, then cell wall for support. The answer is B. All right, we proceed looking at now 0610, that is paper 2, variant 3. Yeah, that is session October-November 2024. What is the description of excretion? So, like I said, on the characteristics, you need to understand them. So, what is the description of excretion? So, excretion, you know that is a removal of waste. So, removal of waste, product of metabolism. That is C. Question 2, the scientific name for domestic horse is Igcse calabas. Which row shows the two parts of the name using the binomial system? Now, for the binomial system, the name has two parts, the genus and the species. So the genus is Igcse. So on the genus part, Igcse should be the genus. So these are not. Then, of course, calabas is the species. So the answer is D. Then the other question 3, diagram shows the type of plant cell. What does this type of cell come, where does this type of cell come from? So under this one also, I think we'll dwell much on this under cell organization. But this one, as you can see, it has no chloroplast. It's a cell, but has no chloroplast. And when you talk of these are found in the root. Those that are found in the leaves are the ones that you find the chloroplast, maybe part of the stem as well. But the roots, they do not have chloroplast, but instead they have cell wall, vacuole, cytoplasm, nucleus. All right, we look at this one. That is 0610. That is paper 2, variant 1. The session May, June. That is 2024. The first question, a person touches a hot object and rapidly move their hand away from the hot object. What characteristics of living organism is this example? So this is sensitivity, the ability to detect and respond to stimuli. So the answer is D on this particular part. Then, what type of organisms are used in genetic modification? What type of organisms are used in genetic modification because they have a plasmid? So a plasmid is only found in bacteria. So the answer is the bacteria. I guess you still remember, and I did emphasize on that part. Then question 3, the list shows some of the structures contained in the cell: cytoplasm, cell membrane, cell wall, chloroplast. How many of these structures are found in the cell of all living organisms? Now, all will mean also animals. Cytoplasm, yes. Cell membrane, yes. Not cell wall, not chloroplast. These are not found in plants, on animals rather. So in other words, only 2, and the answer is B. Then we look at this one. So this one in the session, that is paper 2, variant 2, the session May, June 2024. What process is carried out by all living organisms? So Mrs. Grain. Every time Mrs. Grain. So if it's not there, just know that it is not. So growth, not photosynthesis. Sexual reproduction, not sexual reproduction, but just reproduction. Not transpiration, but the answer is A, growth. So you might be taken here sexual reproduction. There are two types of reproduction, sexual and asexual. So you cannot just specify that sexual reproduction. So it has to be reproduction general. So the answer is A. What is the first part of the scientific name of an organism using the binomial system? The first part is the genus, then follows the species. Question 3, the diagram shows a plant cell. In which labeled part of the cell is glucose made? So this is under cell organization, don't worry. We are going to look at this. But where photosynthesis takes place, it is in the chloroplast, and therefore glucose is produced in the chloroplast. So the answer is B. All right, I guess we are moving together. Let us look at this one, paper 2, that is variant 3, May, June 2024. First question, which characteristics do all living organisms show? Not breathing, excretion, not photosynthesis, but not tropism. Tropism only occurs in plants, photosynthesis in plants, breathing only in animals. Plants do not breathe. So excretion is one characteristics, Mrs. Gray. What kind of, so the answer here is B. What kind of skin do amphibians have? So amphibians. Remember characteristics of amphibians? Is it dry without scale? Dry with scales? Moist with scales? Moist with scale. Moist without scales. So it is C. Moist without scales. Some component of cells are listed. Cell membrane, cell wall, chloroplast, cytoplasm. Which component are present in both plants and animal? Which component are present in plant cell but absent in animal cell? So present in plant is chloroplast, cytoplasm. Chloroplast and the cell wall, rather. So 2 and 3. So the answer here is C. We are looking at now paper 2, that is variant 2, May, June, that is 2024. The first question, which characteristics of living organism is represented by gas exchange in ovuli? Which characteristics of organism is represented by gaseous exchange in living organisms? Now, gaseous exchange in living organism is the removal. Gaseous exchange, we are looking at removal of carbon dioxide, for example. That is a waste. So removal of waste, that is excretion. So the answer here is A. So you are removing the waste, and that is the excretion. Then question 2, the diagram shows Homo sapiens, modern people, could have evolved from earlier ancestors. This is what I was saying. So Homo sapiens, modern man. Homo Heidelbergensis, that is, also we have Homo erectus, then Homo habilis. What statement about the modern people and their ancestor is common? Look at this, Homo, 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 Homo. So same genus, but look at the species. Sapiens, Heidelbergensis, then we have erectus, Homo habilis. So different species. So they have the same species and the same genus. No, they have the same species but different, but they have the same species but not the same genus. No, they have the same genus but not species. So this is the answer. What is the characteristics of both insects and the arachnids? So they are exoskeleton. They all have hard part. So they are exoskeleton. Okay. So for question 4, an animal can swim, has backbone, and produces milk. What group does this animal belong to? Animal can swim, has backbone, and produces milk. What group of animals does this one belong to? So make sure that you answer this question. It is your question, and every one of us will be waiting from or to learn from you. At least I've given you a question with all the questions that I've answered. So which means for me, I'm going to continue on question 5. Which cell structure does aerobic respiration take place? So it occurs in the mitochondria. Don't worry, this is the part that we are going to look at under cell organization. Some processes carried out by living organisms are listed. So this one is variant 1, that is paper 2, variant 1, October, November, that is 2023. So we've entered 2023. Some characteristics are carried out by living organisms are listed below. Egestion, excretion, reproduction, respiration. Which processes are carried out by all living organisms? So in other words, you are just looking at characteristics of living organisms. 1, excretion, reproduction, respiration, not egestion. Egestion is just a removal of waste or undigested food from the body of an organism. And this is not the case of all living organisms. So in other words, we have 2, 3, 4. So 2, 3, 4 only, C. Okay. Then now we have the second one. Scientific name for the human, Homo sapiens, is, the scientific name for the human or humans is Homo sapiens. What does Homo refer to? So Homo refer to the genus. First part of the name in the dichotomous key, or using the dichotomous key or binomial system rather, the first part is the genus. Structures found in cell are listed below: cell membrane, cell wall, mitochondria, nucleus. You've seen some of the questions, just a repetition of what we've gone through already. Which structures are found in prokaryotes cell? So prokaryotic cells, example, you find bacteria. So you find the cell membrane, you find the cell wall, though not have nucleus, no mitochondria, no nucleus. So 1 and 2. So the answer is A. In the mesophyll cell, where is chloroplast found? So chloroplast is found in the cytoplasm. Okay, so in the cytoplasm, that is where you find the chloroplast. All right, let us look at this one. So this is paper 2, variant, that is paper 2, variant 2, October, November, that is 2023. So October, November 2023. The first question: which processes are characteristics of all living organisms? Which processes are characteristics of all living organisms? So, not digestion, respiration, and excretion. So, that is 2 and 3 only. That is 2 and 3 only. Okay? Then, that is question 2. Using the binomial system, the Arctic fox is Velpas, Lagopus. Which row is correct? So Velpas is the genus. So genus. Then Lagopus is the species. So you need to define genus and the species. So this is the B for the second answer. Then which feature is found in viruses? So viruses, they have protein coat. They do not have cell wall, no mitochondria, no nucleus, but have the protein coat. Then question 4, which features are possessed by all plants? Which features are possessed by all plants? Chloroplast and cell wall. So you need all parts ticked. So this and that. So the answer is A. All right. So let us look at this one. That is still paper 2, variant 3, October, November 2023. What are the characteristics of all living organisms? Not breathing, so the fact that this one has breathing, no, not all organisms breathe. Egestion, this one, no. The fact that it has egestion, nothing, or that is not the answer. Then digestion, the fact that it has digestion, that is not the answer. So therefore the answer is reproduction, respiration, and sensitivity. Question 2, using the binomial system, the name of a lion is Panthera rio. Panthera rio. So the genus, the species. What statement is correct? Lion belongs to the kingdom Panthera. No, lion belongs to the genus Panthera. Yes, lion belongs to the species Panthera. No, lion belongs to the genus Rio. No, so the answer is B. The diagram below shows an organism called Chlamydomonas. Which processes can Chlamydomonas carry out? So, what process? Look at the parts that it has. So, it has the nucleus, it has the chloroplast, which means it can carry out photosynthesis, which is nutrition. It has the ribosomes, which produces proteins, so can produce proteins, so protein synthesis. It has the mitochondria, which means can carry out respiration. So photosynthesis and respiration only? No. Photosynthesis, respiration, and protein synthesis. Photosynthesis, protein synthesis, and respiration only? No. Respiration only. So it is the B. Then we go to this question, that is variant 2, paper 1, that is paper 2, variant 1, May, June 2023. What are characteristics of all organisms? So this, we've gone through these questions time without number. So characteristics: not egestion, not egestion, excretion, nutrition, not photosynthesis. So the answer is C, excretion and nutrition. 2. Scientific name for the golden eagle is Aquila chrysatos. What is the genus of the golden eagle? So the genus is the first part, which is Aquila. That is A. We look at the third question. Which row shows the structure that is present in both root hair cell and palisade mesophyll? Now, these are both plant cell. Now, this one is found in the leaf, so it has chloroplast. This one does not have chloroplast, but it has cell wall. So where there's chloroplast shouldn't be ticked. So the fact that chloroplast is not ticked, so root hair cell has cell wall, it has cytoplasm and a vacuole, but not chloroplast. So the answer is C. Okay, so that is the answer to this question. Then we proceed. That is paper 2, May, June 2023. That is variant 2. What process occur in both plant and animal cell? Not photosynthesis, not phagocytosis, not photosynthesis, not transpiration. This occurs in plants. This one is normally in white blood cells or something. Then the part is excretion. In other words, you just look at characteristics of organisms. So the answer is A, right here. 2. The statement about species are given. The statement about species are given. Species are members of species all are identical? No. Members of species belong to the same genus? No. Members of species can produce fertile offspring? Yes. Species are named using the international system. So the answer that I would go with here is, now here we are looking at the ones that are correct, please. I've noticed that it's not only one. So the one that is wrong here is this. Members of the same species belong to the same genus. Members of same species are classified using the international system, otherwise known as the binomial system. So going back to make some corrections here. So the answer is 2, 3, and 4 only, which is D. Then question 3, which structures are found in the cell of all living organisms? O, which means plants and animals. Cell membrane, no chloroplast, cytoplasm, yes. So 2 and 1 and 3. So the answer is C. Let us look at this one. So this is variant 3, that is biology 0610, variant paper 2, variant 3, May, June 2023. What type of characteristics, or what are the 2 characteristics of all living organism? 2 characteristics. Is not breathing, it's not among Mr. Grain, not photosynthesis, not photosynthesis. So respiration and reproduction. Now look at the picture here. Photograph shows an organism. This is a bird. Which visible feature can be used to identify or to classify this organism as a bird? So it lays eggs, but do you know that a hard shell or rubbery shell? Because even reptiles raise eggs, but they're just rubbery shell. Then feathers, you can see them visibly. So for here, I would go for feather, which is A. So the answer is A. Then let us look at this one. So this one is 2023. That is paper 2, variant 3, May, June 2023. I think it's just an extension of or a continuation of the previous one. Yes, this is up to 2. So 3. What statement about cell structure is correct? An animal cell has a cell wall. No, it does not have. Bacterial cell has a cell wall. Yes. Animal cell has chloroplast. No. Bacterial cell has chloroplast. No. So it has a cell wall, but without chloroplast. This is Biology 0610, paper 2, variant 2, February, March, that is 2023. What is used as means of classification? So remember, what is used as means of classification is a sequence of bases in the DNA. Not numbers of strands of mRNA, no. Not shape of DNA molecules, no. No types of bases in, but sequences. How many jointed legs does an insect have? So remember that it has 3 pairs of jointed legs. Photograph shows the cell from a type of aquatic plant. What labeled part indicate that is the plant cell? So what indicate that is a plant cell? Although it must not be visible here, I guess in an exam this was visible, but you should be able to identify this. So here you are going to help identifying. Let me not identify the wrong features. So as you go through, make sure that you identify this part. As you give the answers or type in the answers in the comment section, make sure that you indicate the year number or you just write this part. It's going to help us to make a track and of course be able to look at that question. So this question is yours as well. Make sure that you answer it. Then let us look at this one. That is paper 2, variant 1, October, November, that is 2022. So we are into 2022 now. What process provides an organism with the raw materials needed for tissue respiration? So provide with raw material. Raw materials such as glucose, in other words, by what process is glucose made? So this is nutrition. So the answer is nutrition. Nutrition is the process by which organisms obtain their food. Okay, so those are raw materials needed for tissue. Needed for tissue repair. What process provide an organism with the raw material needed for tissue repair? Okay, what is the correct answer here? So anyway, yeah, it's just okay, just overthinking. Then question 2, which name is given to group of individuals that can produce fertile offspring? You remember from the characteristics, this, or from classification, this is a definition of species. Okay, so species are just group of organisms that can reproduce to produce fertile offspring. So the key thing here is fertile offspring, and I guess you've seen some questions that we've encountered where we are coming from. Then of course, question 3, root hair cell are found on the plant roots. What features present in the root hair cell but not in the sperm cell? So we are comparing animal cell and of course plant cell. Although this is under organization, we are going to answer it. So features found or present in the root hair cell but not in the sperm cell. So the cell membrane is present, chloroplast not present. Then look at this. What features present in the root hair cell but not in the sperm cell? So here the cytoplasm is present in the root hair. Anyway, present in the root hair cell, please. So let us iron out the confusion here. Which features is present in the root hair? Now, root hair is found in the root, so no chloroplast. It has the cytoplasm, cell membrane, but these are also found in plants. So we want just 31. I mean, these are also found in sperm cell, which is an animal cell. We want only those that are found in the root hair cell, which is the cell wall. I guess you've gotten the clarification there. The diagram below shows the cross-section of part of a leaf. What type of cell carry out most photosynthesis? So most photosynthesis is carried out in the parasite cell, and the parasite cell is identified by A. This is something that we're going to look at. Let us look at this one. That is paper 2, variant 2, October, November 2022. Which process provides an organism with raw material needed for tissue respiration? The same question that we had in the previous one. And the answer is nutrition. Question 2, what is the name given to the group of individuals that can reproduce to produce offspring? Fetal offspring. So these questions were repeated. So here you have species. Root hair cells are found on the plant root, which features present the root hair cell, but not in the sperm cell. We found cell wall. Question 4, cells are listed, or the cells listed have specialized structures that allows them to carry out their function. So this is under cell specialization. Are we going to look at it? Which cells have the structures that can move? So it is the cilia, ciliated cell, which has cilia, which moves, and of course sperm cells that have the tail. So it's 1 and 4. So the answer is B. This is paper 2, variant 3, October, November 2022. That is biology 0610. Which process provides organism with raw material needed for tissue respiration? So like in this year, these questions were repeated. Equal the same one. The second one, same question. The third one, same question. Equally here. Now this one differs. What is an example of a tissue? So an example of a tissue here is parasite mesophyll. Cell organization, we are going to look at that one. Here is a question that is paper 2, variant 1, May, June 2022. Now, as you have seen, most of the questions, let me say all the questions that we are going through are from the extended paper, because the lesson focused much on extended, but doesn't mean that someone who is doing core cannot go through this part. So question 1, all living organism releases energy from nutrient molecules within their cells. What is the name of these characteristics? All living organism releases energy from nutrients molecules within their cells. What is the name of this characteristic? So the name of this characteristic is release of energy, is respiration. Then question 2, which diagram shows the flower from monocot lead-on? So we've looked at characteristics of flowers at some point. I guess you remember the end part of the lesson. So we said monocot, they have flowers in the multiple, that is petals in the multiple of 3. So 3, 6. So we are looking for 3, 6, 9. So look at this, 5, 5, 5. So it is this one, multiple of 3. The diagram below shows the cross section. So the answer here is D, please. Question 3, the diagram below shows the cross section through 2 guard cells of a leaf. So this is under specialization, cell specialization. Which labeled structure would also be found in animal cell? So this is the chloroplast. No. This is the cell membrane. Yes. So X. And this is the nucleus. So W and D, X can be found in animal cells. This is just a continuation of the same paper. So the diagram below shows the cross-section through a leaf, which labeled structure is the tissue. So the whole of this one is the leaf, which is an organ. Then this is just a cuticle on top. It's not the tissue. Then of course, this is the opening called the stoma. Then of course, this is a group of cells, otherwise it's a tissue. So C is the answer. So here, C is the answer. Let us look at this question. That is paper 2, variant 2, May, June 2022, which means the question was repeated. So all living organisms release energy from food nutrients molecule within their cell. What is this characteristics? What is the name of the characteristics? Is respiration. This one we said is D, multiple 3, that is monocot. Then this one we said is A, X, and W. The table below shows, or the table shows structures found in the human body. What rows shows the correct level of organization from the simplest structure to the most? So this is under cell organization. And now cell organization, it all starts with a cell, then tissue, tissue, then organ, then from organ goes to the system, then the system organism. So we are starting with a cell. So simple, red blood cell, okay? Heart muscle, muscle is made up of different cells, heart muscle. So these that are starting heart muscle, we cancel them out. So we're going to go with red blood cells, not the heart. The heart is the organ. So we're going to go red blood cells, heart muscle, heart, then circulatory system. So the answer is C. This one is paper 2, variant 2, February, March, that is 2022. The diagram shows a test tube containing pond water. The green color is caused by microorganisms that have chloroplast. So these microorganisms have chloroplast. The first setup here, there's no light, pale green pond water. Then green dark area. Now, which characteristics of living organism are shown? This is pale, then it turns green, which means there was the sensitivity. Now, this concentrated in that just area where there's light, which means there was the movement. The fact that bubbles were produced, which means photosynthesis took place, which means there was the nutrition, making of food. Now, let us look at this. Excretion, no. Movement, nutrition, sensitivity. Nutrition, reproduction, no. Reproduction, no. So the answer is B. Then question 2. The key shows some features of living organisms that can be used to place them into one of the 3 different kingdoms. So living organisms, then the description for the first, nucleus present, no nucleus. So no nucleus, Z. Then for this, if we are to follow for the nucleus present, the nucleus is present but with no cell wall. Nucleus is present but with its cell wall made of what? Cellulose. Then we go down here, yes. If you say yes, then this is kingdom X. If you say no, that is kingdom Y. Which row correctly identifies the 3 organisms? So the one that has cell wall with chloroplast is a plant. So this is the plant. The one that has cell wall without nucleus is fungi. Then of course, this without nucleus, that is without nucleus, Z is prokaryotes, where you find the bacteria that do not have nucleus. So in other words, here X is plant, so these that are fungi, no. Then Y is fungi, then Z prokaryotes. Therefore the answer here is C. Which characteristics of living organisms are needed to release energy for growth? Release energy for growth. So release energy for growth. What do you need for growth? For energy for growth, you need nutrient, for example, respiration. You need glucose. Okay? So respiration to take place, you need glucose. And that glucose is made by nutrition. So it's nutrition and respiration. So the answer is D. So these are characteristics needed to release energy for growth. So nutrition provide the raw material, respiration break down the raw material, then energy is produced. 2 animals have identical sequence of amino acids in one of the protein found in their cells. What does this indicate about this? So sequence. Protein sequence, by the way, amino acid sequence, those G that we've seen is guanine. Guanine is an amino acid. Cytosine, then we have thymine. Those are amino acids, okay, that make up the DNA sequence. So, which means they have common ancestor. So if you have same sequence, they have common ancestor. Question 3, which row shows the structure of, that is on the outside of the plant cell and location of the chloroplast inside the cell? Which row shows the structure outside the plant cell? So outside the plant cell, you find cell wall. Then location of the chloroplast is in the cytoplasm. So we have cell walls in the cytoplasm. So the answer is C. All right, we look at this one. That is the variant 2, paper 2, that is paper 2, variant 2, October, November 2021. All living things can remove toxic materials and other substances that are in excess of requirement. What is the process called? That is excretion. Direct, no problem. Two animals have identical sequence of amino acid in one of the protein found in their cell. What does this indicate about these common ancestors? So this question was repeated. Question 3. The diagram shows some tissues in part of plant root. The arrows represent the movement of water in and across the plant root tissue. How many different tissues do we have or are shown? Now, these are root hair cells, so one tissue. These are cells also in between, another tissue. These are cells, another tissue. This is the xylem. If that is where water is transported, also another tissue, xylem tissue. So about 4. So the answer is B. Let us look at this one. That is paper 2, variant 3, November, October 2021. The amoeba is a single-celled organism. The diagram shows the amoeba engulfing a food particle. Engulfing the what? Food particle. The fact that it is engulfing the food particle, so there's nutrition. Then, of course, there's the so which characteristics of living organism are shown? So nutrition, 1, it is eating. Then from here, sensitivity, it is very sensitive to detect this. So sensitivity is there. So excretion, no. Let's see. Movement, nutrition, sensitivity. Movement, reproduction. So where there's reproduction, please, let me just remove this cancel. Where there's reproduction is a no. Excretion, movement, nutrition. Movement, nutrition, sensitivity. So the answer is C. So it is sense the food, then move toward it, then of course it feeds. So the answer is C. Two animals have identical sequence of amino acid in one of the protein found in their cells. What does this indicate about the animals? So they have common ancestors. You've seen some of the questions are repeated exactly, just that they differ in terms of question numbers. Otherwise, they are repeated. The diagram below shows two guard cells. Which label is correct? This outside is a cell wall, not the cell membrane. This is the plant cell. This dark part is the cytoplasm, not a cell wall. Then, of course, the middle part is the vacuole. This is not the cytoplasm, it's a cell wall. So the correct one is the vacuole, which is C. What is the characteristics of all living organism? Not breathing, not circulation, not digestion, but sensitivity. So the answer is. Now this one I've answered where I was comparing base sequences here. So this one you are going to compare base sequences. So the table shows a section of a DNA taken from 4 different organisms. As you can see, organism base sequence. Which 2 organisms are mostly distantly related to each other? So those that do not have close in terms of base sequence. So you compare them. So answer this question. Let us look at question 3. Scientists discovered a new species of animals. It has segmented body with 2 pairs of legs on each segment. To which group of animals does this new species belong? So those that have segmented bodies are myriapods. So it belongs to myriapods, centipedes, millipedes. All right, so this brings us to the end of the lesson. So I'm going to look at, or the next one, we are going to look at the lesson 2. And I guess you'll be here on this platform to watch lesson 2. And of course, I'll get to answer also paper 4 that is extended. So please do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel and do not forget to turn on the notification bell. Share with others and also see you in the next one.